to hear from Jakoyo's reaction as well to that particular question. Your input.
Well, Irungu had it coming. You know, one day when there was the discussion in the Senate about one man, one vote, Jakoyo Kang'ata said something leaders don't say. Came out and addressed the media and said, if you don't vote, then there is no BBI. Nobody understood where the issue of BBI, what the issue of BBI had to do with the vote in the Senate. I thought that was reckless of him. Come to this letter, Deba, Irungu is majority whip. All communications from Parliament goes through the office of the clerk. So he cannot use a public office. That's criminal. And write to the President of Kenya using Parliament and not using parliamentary channels. Mm-hmm. That is illegal. Otherwise, even Muturi can't write a letter without consulting the clerk. That is how Parliament works world over. So somebody cannot go out there, smoke his things and pen using government, what do you call it? Stationery, and you send to the president. Thirdly, a whip carries the engine of the work of MPs. And therefore, a whip has direct channel to the president. He could have called Tuju, he could have called State House. When I was chief whip, we met the president very regularly. And whenever we had an issue, we would call Mudaura and say we want to see Mzee as a parliament. We go with Marende, George Dhuo. After George Dhuo's ouster, we went with Mudama. We sit the president down. This one is going to take us back to the mayhem of 2007. Or this one, if we do this way, this is the expected result. That is decency. But the president, even if he was 14 years old, cannot be dictated to as a young boy, because it is about the office. You know, the content of Kang'ata's letter says only 10% of people, I don't know, 2 out of 10 in Murang'a. He's talking about Murang'a. He's a whip of the nation. He was not even talking to, for you, Cheriot. He was talking about Kikuyus, and not all Kikuyus, Kikuyus of Murang'a. You see, that kind of indiscipline is what drives nations to extreme disorder. Having said that, I am a realist, I'm not a sadist. I actually think what is happening today had to happen so that Kenya can begin breathing again. What is happening today, Kenya has very bad leaders. And Jakoyo, my friend, I told him when we were in another show, that why couldn't we take this opportunity and use this Uhuru Raila Corporation now that there's no commotion, so that we can change how we arrive at leaders. You know, even these people who are congregating around the DP, this Christmas, if they are not kicked out by Jubilee, they will all run back to their constituencies because they will be in danger. Some people will be trying to pry their seats out of their hands. So will the president, will the DP fly a chopper and deliver wheelbarrows alone? You know, this what is happening is very good. Very, very good. And when you talk about constitutional order, look at what happened in Machakos the other day, Deba. The DP is standing on a roof of a car with Sonko abusing his own office. You know, the criminal there is not Sonko. How can the presidency is Uhuru and Ruto? How can he stand there and not correct him? It is probably decent to let him ventilate, but tell him that is wrong. You cannot do that about the office of the president. You know, even calling his name, it's not good in public. He may make mistakes. But all these people are in Jubilee Party. They should go to the Jubilee House, not State House, Jubilee. They even have a very nice building. And say, hey, why is our leader talking so badly about us? Why? Isn't that decency? What I saw in Machakos, the media was wrong to play in public because our children saw it. Our children saw somebody who has been a governor of an economy, a county that controls 60% of our economies. He was our governor. He's been kicked out. And I can tell you, Sonko is my friend. But wrong is wrong and right is right. The president is not a dog. You know, lastly, what is even happening in Central Province today, what worries me most, having said that Kenya is in good space, is the radicalization which is going around the Kikuyu youths. How will we get out of it? Once you take a young generation and you teach them, the only way to survive is to push wheelbarrows. And then you do it physically. And as though you want people to go to war. Ibal, did you know pikipikis are not allowed in this town? Handcarts are not allowed in the city center. Where are you going to push the wheelbarrows? You know, we must sort out this mess, and how good that it is that it is coming 1.5 years before elections. Because we must talk about it. Yeah.
Thank you. Aaron Cheriot, you want to react to what Jakoyo Midiwo is saying?
Is there anything to react to? because I've listened to my friend Jakoyo. I thought this is 2021 is going to be a bit different, especially now that we are in a different station. And it is still the same old Jakoyo. Lamenting about wheelbarrows as if they fly in oranges also as they go to rallies. You know, we said a wheelbarrow is just a simple Jakoyo. Why does it work you up so much? And it is a sign, you know, in literature, there is what they call symbolism. And we've said we'll pick the most common of object, something that every citizen in this republic can identify with as the simplest of tool that can help your work get easily done. And say that we want an economic model that makes sense to that fellow deep down in the village in Game, where Jakoyo comes from. That we shouldn't have policies that make sense to you only in well-lit and air-conditioned offices in Nairobi. That we had gotten to a point that if you study our economic model for the last 50 years, since 1963, close to 60 years now, you'll realize that there's an unhealthy obsession with white and white-collar jobs, trying to push graduates and saying everybody can work in a particular industry. But it has gotten to a point where we have the highest rate of unemployment thanks to 60 years of misappropriation of our resources, channeling it in a manner that benefits only a select few. And the conversation that we are pushing is that can we have a sit down, the 47 million of us, and say this model hasn't worked. Let us live in a country where everybody knows that when you wake up by close of business, by end of a particular day, you can retire home and be able to comfortably feed your family. When they are unwell, you can take them to hospital and that kind of thing. So I don't know why Jakoyo and company finds that to be offensive. They want to reduce it as if it is populist politics, as if it is a class war. I do not think that is what it is. And by the way, Jakoyo, as a friendly advice, as you guys keep on referring to these people in such a manner as if you're ridiculing their hustle and their struggle, they completely move away from you guys. And that is the cause of why your party leader continues to face the kind of difficulties that he's facing, even in regions that have traditionally, and people that have traditionally identified with his politics. It's because even the borders, for example, that you celebrate that they have been kicked out of town,
who is celebrating?
And you're saying, oh, after all, they are not allowed to ride in this town. That's a source of livelihood. to thousands of people in this city.
All right.
And we should have handled that situation better. Ensured that we find a way of identifying them, identify lanes, just like there are people who run matatu business. Boda boda is a business as well. NMS, or the people that runs this city, haven't handled this boda boda issue in a responsible way.
Right.
We visit different parts of the world where even tuk-tuk, which to me I find it to be more of a menace than boda boda, crisscross very huge cities that are bigger than Nairobi. I'm sure you visited Delhi. But they have been designated points where they can drop people, where they can pick passengers. They are properly marked and identified so such that they are not used as a source of insecurity.
Thank you.
That is a conversation that
I wanted to ask
but
you, Aaron.
Somebody sits in an office and says, because I can drive my car, I don't care about these boda boda people.
Could it be maybe...
That's the attitude that you are saying,
could it be
let's
maybe,
do away with.
Yeah, could it maybe... the case is there is a poor messaging also coming from, the hustler narrative. That the way also the public has actually deciphered the narrative is dramatically different from what you had projected. Because this is where they are actually pushing the wage of the class wars.
The public completely understand it, and that's why they identify with it. The people who are trying to distort it are the guys who are opposed to it, and not just opposed to it for the sake of the message, but for the reason that, as a politician, and all of us on this panel are, if your opponent comes up with a message that resonates with the people, you'll do everything to distort that message. That is what Jakoyo and
thank you.
Okongo are doing.
Right. But I didn't want this conversation to degenerate maybe into the hustler dynasty narrative, as it were, because we want to see what happened today. Is it a build-up of something that is coming up? Are we also looking at people being conditioned to, be receptors of something, that is in the pipeline, as far as conditioning maybe members of parliament is concerned, right? Let's hear from Okongo Omogeni briefly before we take a short break.
Yeah, first, these bylaws that restricted the entry of motorcycles to the city were done during the reign of Governor Sonko, who belongs to this thing you call hustler. Is it hustler nation? The one that is supposed to be sympathetic to this motorcyclists. And the Sonko, to the best of my knowledge, was elected by the same Jubilee government, where the DP is number 2 in command. So, what I disagree with my friends on this other side is that they want to peddle lies. They want to make Kenyans look like fools. You see, Sonko is now a darling of the DP. But when Senator Kang'ata speaks, it's like those bylaws were enacted by Raila Amolo Odinga, who is not anywhere in the leadership of the county of Nairobi. This is where we are getting it very wrong. People are not fools. They can go to the bylaws and know who enacted these bylaws. So if you want to have any blame, start with the person who is working with you with this hustler narrative, who is Governor Sonko. But he cannot be sitting up and say, there are people who are against you people hustlers. Yet, the policies that they want to criticize were actually put in place by people who belong to that side of the political divide. This dishonesty is not right. When they started the wheelbarrow narrative, now, you are being told that the wheelbarrow, I'm not able to follow. I'm not in academics, so maybe I'm lost somewhere. But he's taken about 5 minutes trying to debunk the wheelbarrow narrative. But we know what I saw a clip where people are taken to Karen, and though I was really shocked, the deputy president was put in a wheelbarrow, and somebody was pushing it, I think people from Dagoretti, saying that now wheelbarrow has been given to you to liberate yourself. But now you have heard what Senator Kang'ata is telling you, they had something else in mind. That is honest. You should not be allowed, especially when we are on national television. That's not right. I was in Nyamira the other day, and the people asked a question. I was happy that people now know. They said, the DP comes here to tell us about wheelbarrows, but they had seen him 2 weeks earlier donating a bus in Siwoyet in Bomet County. You want to donate a bus in Bomet But come to Nyamira and tell people that, you know, I want you guys to own wheelbarrows, you will transform your business. I mean, people are clever. And I'm telling you, unless you change this narrative, Senator Kang'ata,
Right.
You're going to run into very, very rough territories.
Right. I want to just give you time to knock back also your juice as we take a short break. When we circle back, we hear from Professor Aseka to just give us, yes, from the intellectual inputs, what is really happening with this narrative and how dangerous is this narrative? Because we've been talking a good game about it, but where are we headed as a country and what does it portend as a country as far as peace is concerned? Don't go away.